All right, we're going to start digging into the bottom end of the KDX 200. I have this case off on this side, so we're going to start disassembling everything that we can on here. And the flywheel puller, magneto puller finally came in, so we'll be able to pull that as well. The only thing that I'm not 100% sure on, because the spring was off when I took the case off, this little spring right here. In fact, I know it goes on. Hopefully you're seeing that. Let's see if I can put the flash on. One end of the spring definitely came out of there. The other end popped off, but I'm 98% sure. I got to look at the book that it came off that little guy right there. And that's just a hook to hold this end of the spring. But again, I'll double check the book, and when we reassemble this, I'll definitely know the answer by then. But there's no other place it can go. Again, one end of the spring was just hanging there, and then the other end, I'm almost certain, pops into there. All right, we're going to start by removing this spring here. It's going to slide right off. You can see there's like a, I'll call it a spacer inside of here. That'll come out. But for now, I'm going to keep that together. I'm going to wrap a tie around there. The more pieces you can keep together, the less you'll have to try to figure out later, or you know, keep looking at the book and looking at the exploded view. So try to keep as many pieces together as you can. All right, this is your shift shaft. This should pull right out now. Another thing I like to do is take a rag with a little denatured alcohol, get some of the grease off. I like to put an X on things, and I know that that means this piece was facing out. Now, obviously, this can only go back on one way. You know, you couldn't put it upside down, you couldn't put it backwards, but later on, you know, if you don't get back to this for a week or 2 weeks or whatever it may be, or the time you get the entire inside done, it'll definitely be a while later, especially if you're a hobbyist. It's not like you work on these 8 hours a day. You know, rather than try to put it on 4 different ways, you know, that this faces out. You could go as far as putting an arrow facing up, but I just like to do it. It's just something I do. Got another spacer, small end facing out. I think next we'll go ahead and we'll try to get our Kickstart spring off of there. All right, I'm going to box up all the pieces to the gear shift. I got to go grab some sandwich bags. I usually get the decent sized ones, the Ziploc bags that you can actually write on. So I got to pick a box of those up. But for now, we're going to use this box. And I like to do each component separately in its own bag, obviously, so you don't get bits and pieces mixed up. All right, there should be spring tension on this, so just pay attention. There's the back side. You got a snap ring. And then it looks like you got another spring behind there. Right now that snap ring is going to hold everything in place for us. I always inspect everything. Look here, make sure there's no washer stuck to here. That's a big thing when you do these bottom ends, the oil. You get these little thrust washers or whatever, and they stick to there, and you don't notice it, and you think it's just a casting or whatever, and then thing goes flying, and you never know about it until you're looking for it when you got to put it back together. Again, make sure there's no washers on this side, which there doesn't appear to be. All right, we got this plastic spacer in the front with the notch facing in. Spring does not want to let go. There we are. That came out like that. I don't see anything else. I don't see any washers. So I think we're good there. You can see these teeth, how they're lined up. I'm going to try to keep this together. I'm not too sure on the Kawasaki's, but I know on most Kickstarts, they're kind of, you can call it timed. So you definitely want to make sure you got everything in the right spot, or you'll have issues later. Now we're going to bag up our Kickstart. That may seem like overkill, but I'm telling you, it's really important that you keep all your parts together. Because if this gets away from you, or you get busy with work or whatever you got going on with your life, and you go back a month later or something like that, you'll definitely be scratching your head. I mean, don't get me wrong, seasoned mechanics, they do these things every day. It's second nature to them. But again, if you're a hobbyist or a beginner, definitely bag and tag for sure. We still have to take our Kickstart retainer out. It's going to be a 10 millimeter. All right, you got some kind of spacer on the other side there. It's kind of sharp there. I don't know if something broke off at one point. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but I don't see any broken pieces, so we'll go with that. All right, we're going to put that with the rest of this and set that to the side. All right, grab your snap ring pliers. I got these from Home Depot a while back, actually. It's a nice kit. You can put different sizes in here. Comes with a little pouch. And it's got a little setting here for whether you're pulling or pushing. All right, so I couldn't say it quick enough. You can see I was starting to get my hand ready to catch this snapper in case it went flying, and before I could do it, it went flying. So definitely be careful. You know, even sometimes I'll even take like a rag and stick it over there as I'm pulling it off to catch it. But it will go flying. I got extremely lucky. That's twice this week things went flying, and sometimes in this shop they go flying and you never see them again. So definitely watch out for that. All right, so there's that situation I was talking about. You got a really thin washer there. If you look real quick, that looks like it's part of the gear, but it's a really thin thrust washer. And you'll go set this down or turn around and you'll be holding it. This thing will flop off and you'll never know what happened. So definitely watch out for that. You can see how it sticks with the oil. Then we got I believe there's a spacer in there. Maybe that's part of the gear. We'll find out. And there's another washer on the other side. Not sure if they're identical or not. But there's one on the inside. And then this guy here was on the outside. I'm going to keep them separate for now. I'm thinking they're the same washer, but as far as I can tell, that's pressed into that gear. It's not moving, so we're going to take these washers and we're going to put a tie wrap around the three pieces and keep them together. Front washer, back washer, tie wrap. See if I can get the snap ring to stay there. I'll end up taping the snap ring to it. It'll be easier. Just stick it in there and I'll wrap some tape around it. Alright, next we're going to remove this guy here. That's an 8mm. Spacer on the back side. It's got a little, I'll call it a bevel, I don't know what else to call it, sticking out. That came off this way. So we'll put it on that way so we know for later. Make sure you don't lose your spring. As far as I can tell, that's it. I don't see any other washers. So we'll bag that and tag that. Getting desperate here without the bags. Definitely have your bags handy before you start this, unlike me. Alright, we're going to take this gear off next. That nut's a 24mm. And I can tell by looking at it, at least I'm pretty sure anyway, there's a washer right behind it. Then the gear, and not sure what's going on after that, so we'll pull that off slowly. I might have to lock that down somehow. Alright, so go ahead and get your gear puller set up. Get your jaws behind the gear, obviously, and your point's going to go in the center of the shaft. If you don't own one of these, you can usually go to your local auto parts store, and a lot of the big box auto parts stores will rent you the tool. Basically, if the tool's worth $60, they charge you $60. You put it on a card or cash or whatever, and then when you bring it back, you get your money back. But they're not all that expensive. If you're going to be doing this, definitely worth the investment. Let's go ahead and just start turning that in. Should pull right off. All right, and then you got a little, you can either call it a keyway or a woodruff. I think the technical term is a woodruff. Keyway is more rectangular. You can see this is like a half moon or whatever. Make sure you don't lose that guy. We're going to slide it right back into the gear here. You know, we'll wrap some tape or something around there. I don't see anything else behind that. I don't see anything sticking to anything. So I think we're going to be good on this side for now. Don't think we need to remove those. Those are the bearing retainers. So we're going to leave them for now. So yeah, we're going to go to the other side. We're going to take the magneto off. And then I think at that point we'll be ready to split the cases. All right, we're going to go ahead and remove our sprocket. Again, you got a snap ring on there. I'm going to be ready this time with the rag. That sprocket has definitely seen better days. But we'll keep them together. Don't think there's anything behind that. All right. Just want to show you real quick. I turned this back over, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. All of a sudden, I got a spacer laying on the bench here. I know where it goes. I know it came from here, so not the end of the world. But those are the things that, you know, you got to pay attention to, because it could have rolled behind a bench or something like that, and you would never know. All right, we're going to go ahead and undo our magneto. You're going to have to do something to keep it from spinning. This is regular left-handed thread, so lefty-loosey, 13 millimeter. Got a lock washer, and then a regular washer. Alright, so I was going to get ready to pull this magneto flywheel off with my new handy dandy puller that I ordered, and it doesn't work on this. A lot of the newer ones are threaded on the inside here, and these threads would screw in, obviously, and then you would turn this in and it would pop that out. I have a couple of these for like Suzuki's and a couple other models, Honda. The ad said this would work on the KDX 200, but I'm thinking it must be the newer models. So I got to get the type of puller. It's kind of shaped like that. It's got like 3 slots in it, and then you put these bolts through. That's what these holes are for, and then it's got a center rod that pushes down there, and that'll pop that off. But I wish I paid attention when I saw those. I should have kind of realized that, but I never looked hard enough in there to see if that was threaded. And these are just, they're so nice. They just, like I said, they screw in, you tighten this up, and they pop right off. They're worth the 14, 15 bucks that they cost. I mean, they're cheap, but cheaply made. I mean, you can spend more on a quality one. But anyway, that's not going to work irregardless. So I got to go ahead and get that puller. I don't think I have one here, and get that off. So that's it for tonight. I can't really go any further. I got to go get the case splitter anyway at my brother's shop. So I'll get the case splitter. I'll get the other puller. He might even have one I can borrow. And we'll be back.